So I'm back. It's Steven, your friendly neighborhood anesthesiologist. Wasn't expecting to post another video this soon. So ironically, really the day after I posted the last video, just kind of giving an update on the whole coronavirus thing, I went to work the next morning. I was scheduled to work in labor and delivery. I show up. My girlfriend texts me about 9 in the morning that says, "Hey, so Portugal is on the list of level 3 countries, according to the CDC, where there's an increased risk of contracting coronavirus." And so I printed off the kind of CDC guidelines and went to my leadership and showed them, hey, I was in Portugal just over a week ago. So because of the new guidelines, I was actually quarantined, left that day at work, put a mask on for the next like half hour that I was at work, and then was quarantined for the remainder of the week. So we got back on a Friday. So as of today, I'm kind of coming off of quarantine. So that was quite an unexpected turn of events. What I do during quarantine, not much. I was already kind of socially isolating myself and not going out, and I'd already bought groceries to last 2 weeks or so. I guess right off the bat, I was kind of concerned that one, I worked for a whole week after I'd returned from Portugal, so hoping that I didn't expose any coworkers or patients unknowingly. Since I was asymptomatic, I remained asymptomatic the whole 2 week period. So hopefully I wasn't exposed and was not a carrier for that. A couple days into quarantine, I actually saw on the news first that there was talk about deploying the hospital ships, the USNS Comfort and the USNS Mercy. These are two hospital ships that are in the Navy fleet, and the plan per the news reports is to deploy these ships to cities along the coast to help with relief efforts for the coronavirus. I literally just got back from a 5-month deployment on the Comfort. We did a humanitarian aid deployment to Central and South America and the Caribbean. So we got back in November of last year, and I am a critical core member. The way it works is there's like a crew that always mans and staffs the ship. The ship's actually owned by Merchant Marines, so Military Sea Lift Command is an organization. They're not like active duty military, but they operate and maintain the ship. And then there's a small Navy crew that always staffs the ship. Then there's critical core, which includes nurses and physicians in different specialties that are responsible for the different aspects of the ship. So I'm critical core for the anesthesiology department. And there's a couple other critical core members, including surgeons and medical services and nursing, etc. So when the ship gets activated, we're part of the first group that kind of comes back aboard and starts getting stuff set up. Depending on the mission, the ship will call for different specialties of physicians or different types of nurses. Just depends on what the mission is and how many people or patients the ship's expected to receive. Online, Wikipedia and the numbers get thrown out that it's got 1,000 bed capacity. Sure, a lot of those are bunk beds for whatever that's worth. But it just depends on how big of a mission they're planning for. That's how many people they'll call for. So I'll be off quarantine after this weekend, and then I'll report in on Monday. So I got to pack a sea bag and get ready to go back out on deployment. So a lot can change. Probably a lot will continue to change. The number of patients exposed continue to escalate. The number of people that are being hospitalized across the nation is escalating, and I'm talking and in close contact with a lot of my friends from residency who are experiencing different issues in their hospital and trying to keep these patients safe and trying to keep themselves, their coworkers, nurses that they work with, all that safe. I think it's a lot of uncertainty because honestly, we're kind of shooting from the hip, and thankfully there's a lot of people that are doing research on this and doing case reports and spreading information on what we can do to effectively treat patients and how, especially, we can decrease, slow, and stop the spread of this virus by not being out, not being in groups, and all that. So, just a little interesting update. So we'll see how this deployment unfolds. Assuming I go back out to sea, stay tuned. I know during the last deployment, I was able to post a fair amount of the different mission stops that we did. So that's kind of on my Instagram account. If you want to go back and look at pictures during that mission, we did, I think, 10 different mission stops in 10 different countries. And I was able to document some of it. Believe you me, I will be documenting a lot more this time around. And as permitted, I'll be keeping you guys updated. There is operational security and, there's like secrets, whatever, loose lips, sink ships, all that. So I can't share everything, but ironically, if you check the news, you may know stuff sooner than I know. So stay tuned. I'm sure there's more to come.